Maya Rodriguez never imagined that cleaning penthouse suites would change her life forever. At 22, she worked 3 jobs just to send money home to her sick mother in Arizona, scrubbing floors by day and studying online business courses by night. But nothing could have prepared her for what would happen that fateful evening in Alexander Sterling's Manhattan penthouse. The elevator doors opened to reveal the most luxurious apartment she'd ever seen. But tonight something felt different. Tonight would shatter her world completely. Before we dive into Maya's heartbreaking story, I need your help to reach 10,000 subscribers. If this story touches your heart, please hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. Your support means everything to reaching our goal. Now let's see how one night changed everything for Maya. Maya pushed her cleaning cart through the marble foyer of Sterling Tower's penthouse, her worn sneakers silent against the expensive Italian tiles. She'd been working for elite cleaning services for 8 months, and Alexander Sterling's apartment was always her final stop on Fridays. Usually, the billionaire CEO was never home, traveling between board meetings and international deals, but tonight was different. The sound of crystal clinking against crystal echoed from the living room, followed by a frustrated groan. Maya hesitated, her hand frozen on the handle of her supply caddy. Mr. Sterling was supposed to be in Tokyo for the week. "Hello," she called softly, her voice barely above a whisper. No response. Maya took a cautious step forward, her heart hammering against her ribs. The scent of expensive whiskey hung heavy in the air, mixed with something else, something that smelled like desperation and defeat. She found him slumped on his leather sofa, still wearing his $1,000 suit, but with his tie loosened and his dark hair disheveled. Alexander Sterling, the man whose face graced Forbes covers and whose business deals made headlines, looked utterly broken. An empty bottle of Macallan sat on the coffee table beside him, and his green eyes were rimmed red. When he looked up at her, Maya felt her breath catch. Even in his drunken state, he was devastatingly handsome, the kind of man who belonged in movies, not in her small, struggling world. "Who are you?" he slurred, struggling to focus on her face. "I'm Maya, sir. I clean your apartment. I can come back another time if—" "No." His voice was sharp, cutting through the silence like a blade. "Don't go. Everyone else does. Everyone always leaves." Maya set down her supplies, something in his voice making her chest tighten with unexpected sympathy. This wasn't the composed billionaire she'd seen in magazines. This was a man drowning in his own success. "Are you okay, Mr. Sterling?" He laughed bitterly, the sound echoing off the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the glittering Manhattan skyline. "Okay? My fiancée just called off our engagement. Turns out she was only interested in my bank account, not me. My business partner tried to steal my company today. My father died thinking I was a failure. So no, sweetheart. I'm not okay." The vulnerability in his voice made Maya's heart ache. Without thinking, she moved closer, her natural instinct to comfort overriding her common sense. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "That sounds terrible." Alexander looked at her then, really looked at her, as if seeing her for the first time. Her long black hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her cleaning uniform couldn't hide her natural beauty, the kind that came from within, honest and pure. "You're beautiful," he whispered, and Maya felt heat flood her cheeks. "Mr. Sterling, you're drunk. Maybe I should call someone." "There's no one to call." His hand reached out, fingers barely brushing her wrist. "Everyone in my life wants something from me. Money, connections, status. But you don't even know who I really am, do you?" Maya's pulse quickened at his touch. "I know you're Alexander Sterling. You own Sterling Industries." "That's what I do, not who I am." He stood unsteadily, moving closer until she could smell his cologne mixed with whiskey. "What's your story, Maya? What's a girl like you doing cleaning apartments at midnight?" She should have stepped back, should have maintained professional distance. But something in his eyes, a loneliness that matched her own, kept her frozen in place. "I'm putting myself through business school," she heard herself saying. "My mom is sick, and the medical bills. I work 3 jobs to help pay for her treatment." "3 jobs?" His brow furrowed. "That's not fair. Someone as beautiful and smart as you shouldn't have to struggle like that." "Life isn't fair, Mr. Sterling. Some of us aren't born with trust funds." Instead of being offended, he smiled, the first genuine expression she'd seen from him all evening. You're right, and call me Alex. When you say Mr. Sterling, I think of my bastard father. Maya found herself smiling back, drawn in by this glimpse of the real man behind the corporate facade. Okay, Alex. Say it again, he requested, his voice dropping to a husky whisper. Alex. His name felt intimate on her tongue, like a secret they were sharing. He moved closer, his hand reaching up to cup her cheek. You have the most incredible eyes, like warm chocolate. Maya's breath hitched. She knew she should leave. This was her boss, even if indirectly. This was dangerous territory. But when he looked at her like she was precious, like she mattered, all her rational thoughts scattered. Maya, he murmured, his thumb tracing her lower lip. You're the first honest thing I've encountered in months. Alex, she started, but the protest died when he leaned down, his forehead resting against hers. I know I shouldn't ask this. I know you deserve better than a broken man drowning his sorrows. But tonight, I need someone real. Someone who sees me, not my bank account. Maya's heart was racing so fast she was sure he could hear it. She'd never been with anyone before, had never had time for relationships between work and school and taking care of her mother. But looking into Alex's pain-filled eyes, she felt something shift inside her chest. I see you, she whispered. That's when he kissed her. His lips were soft but desperate, tasting of expensive whiskey and unfulfilled promises. Maya had imagined her first kiss countless times, but never like this. Never with a billionaire in a penthouse. Never with so much raw emotion pouring between them. When they broke apart, both breathing heavily, Alex searched her eyes. Have you ever, he started to ask, then stopped. I'm sorry, that's too personal. I haven't, Maya admitted, her cheeks burning. I've never, with anyone. The confession seemed to sober him slightly. Maya, we should stop. You deserve romance, flowers, someone who can give you everything you've dreamed of. What if I don't want all that, she asked, surprising herself with her boldness. What if I want this moment with you? Alex closed his eyes, warring with himself. You don't know what you're saying. I'm 22, not 12. I know exactly what I'm saying. Maya reached up, her fingers threading through his dark hair. Tonight, can we just be Alex and Maya? Not billionaire and cleaning lady, just us. When he opened his eyes again, the last of his restraint crumbled. Are you sure? Because once we cross this line, I'm sure. What followed was the most tender, passionate night of Maya's life. Alex worshipped her body like she was precious, whispering how beautiful she was, how perfect, how lucky he was to be with her. He was gentle with her innocence, patient and caring, making sure she felt pleasure before his own. In those intimate hours, Maya felt like she was floating. This was nothing like the awkward, hurried encounters her friends had described. This felt like magic, like destiny, like all the romance novels she secretly read during her lunch breaks. Afterwards, they lay tangled in his silk sheets, Maya's head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow to normal. Thank you, he murmured into her hair. I needed this. I needed you. I needed this too, Maya admitted, though she hadn't realized it until now. They talked until dawn, sharing stories about their childhoods, their dreams, their fears. Maya learned that Alex had built his empire to prove himself to a father who never approved of anything he did. Alex learned that Maya wanted to open her own business someday, helping other young women from struggling families. As the sun painted the Manhattan sky in shades of pink and gold, Maya felt something she'd never experienced before: complete happiness. She was falling for this man, falling hard and fast. I should go, she whispered reluctantly. I have another job in a few hours. Stay, Alex pleaded, his arms tightening around her. Just a little longer. Maya snuggled closer, breathing in his scent. Okay, a little longer. But eventually reality intruded. Maya had to leave, had to return to her small studio apartment and her normal life. As she dressed, Alex watched her from the bed, something unreadable in his expression. Maya, he said as she reached for the door. Last night was perfect, she finished, her heart full of hope. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Yes, perfect. Maya floated through the next week on cloud nine. She replayed every moment of their night together, every whispered endearment, every tender touch. She found herself daydreaming during her other jobs, imagining what it would be like to be with Alex again. She wasn't naive enough to think one night would lead to marriage, but she hoped it was the beginning of something real, something that could grow into love. When Friday came around again, Maya's hands shook as she prepared for her shift at Sterling Tower. She'd carefully chosen her nicest jeans and a soft sweater instead of her usual uniform, and she'd even bought lip gloss with her tip money. The elevator ride to the penthouse felt eternal, her heart hammered with anticipation, nerves, and hope all tangled together. But when the doors opened, Maya's excitement died instantly. Alex was there, but he wasn't alone. A stunning blonde woman with legs like a supermodel and a dress that cost more than Maya made in 6 months was draped over Alex's arm. They were laughing about something, champagne glasses in hand, looking like they'd stepped out of a magazine spread. Maya stood frozen in the doorway, her cleaning supplies suddenly feeling heavy in her hands. Alex looked up and saw her, and for just a moment, something flickered across his face. Guilt, maybe, or regret. But it was gone so quickly that Maya wondered if she'd imagined it. "Oh," the blonde woman said, looking Maya up and down with obvious disdain. "The help is here." "Right on time," Alex said, his voice cold and professional. Nothing like the warm, intimate tone he'd used with her just a week ago. "Maya, this is Victoria Ashford. We'll be in the study, so you can clean the living areas." Maya felt like she'd been slapped. The way he said her name, like she was nothing more than an employee, like their night together had never happened, made her stomach turn. "Of course, Mr. Sterling," she managed, proud that her voice didn't shake. As she began cleaning, she couldn't help but overhear their conversation. "So when do I get to meet your parents?" Victoria purred. "Soon," Alex replied. "The merger with Ashford Industries will be announced next month. Our engagement will make the perfect headline." Maya's hands stilled on the coffee table she was dusting. "Engagement? I still can't believe you were single when we met," Victoria continued. "A man like you should never be alone." Alex chuckled. "I wasn't exactly alone. There are always women willing to provide comfort. But nothing serious, of course. Just meaningless encounters to pass the time." The words hit Maya like physical blows. Meaningless encounters. Was that all she'd been to him? "Well, those days are over," Victoria declared possessively. "From now on, I'm the only woman in your life." "Absolutely," Alex agreed. "The only woman who matters." Maya bit her lip hard enough to taste blood, fighting back tears. She finished her work as quietly as possible, desperate to escape before she completely broke down. As she headed for the door, Alex's voice stopped her. "Maya." She turned, hope flickering despite everything. Maybe he would explain. Maybe there was a reason for his coldness. But when their eyes met, his expression was distant, almost cruel. "Make sure you clean the bedroom thoroughly next week," he said. "We'll likely be using it often." The casual dismissal, the way he reduced their beautiful night together to just another mess to clean up, shattered something inside Maya's chest. "Of course, sir," she whispered and fled. Maya cried the entire subway ride home, grateful for the late hour that meant fewer people to witness her breakdown. She felt so stupid, so naive for thinking that someone like Alex could actually care about someone like her. She'd given him her virginity, her heart, her trust, and he'd thrown it all away without a second thought. The worst part was the way he'd looked at her, like she was disposable, like she'd meant nothing at all. Maya threw herself into work and school, trying to forget Alex Sterling and the night that had ruined her for anyone else. But forgetting proved impossible when, 3 weeks later, she realized her period was late. The pregnancy test stared back at her with two unmistakable pink lines. Maya sank to her bathroom floor, overwhelmed by terror and disbelief. She was pregnant with Alex Sterling's baby, a man who considered her nothing more than a meaningless encounter. What was she going to do? For days, Maya wrestled with her options. She could have an abortion and pretend none of this ever happened. She could move away, raise the baby alone. Or she could tell Alex, though the thought of facing his cold rejection again made her physically ill. In the end, her mother made the decision for her. Mia, her mother said during one of their nightly phone calls, "You sound terrible. What's wrong?" Maya broke down and told her everything. About Alex, about the night they'd shared, about the pregnancy she wasn't sure she could handle alone. "Oh, sweetheart," her mother sighed. "That man sounds like trouble. But this baby is innocent. And maybe he deserves to know he's going to be a father. What if he doesn't want anything to do with us? Then you'll raise that child with more love than any billionaire's money could buy. But Maya, you have to try, for the baby's sake." So Maya found herself back at Sterling Tower on a Thursday afternoon, her resignation letter in one hand and a copy of her ultrasound in the other. She'd quit elite cleaning services, unable to face seeing Alex regularly, but she owed him the truth before disappearing from his life forever. The receptionist looked skeptical when Maya asked to see Mr. Sterling. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but please tell him Maya Rodriguez needs to speak with him. It's important." 20 minutes later, Maya was escorted to Alex's office, a space of glass and steel that screamed power and success. Alex sat behind his massive desk, looking every inch the billionaire CEO in his perfectly tailored suit. But when he saw her, something shifted in his expression. "Maya," he dismissed his assistant with a wave. "This is unexpected." "I won't take much of your time," Maya said, her voice steadier than she felt. "I just needed to tell you something." Alex leaned back in his chair, studying her. "I heard you quit the cleaning service." "Yes, I found a better job." It was a lie. She was working double shifts at a diner now, but her pride demanded it. "Good for you." His tone was polite but distant. "What did you need to tell me?" Maya's courage almost failed her. He was looking at her like a stranger, like their night together had been erased from his memory. But she thought of her mother's words and pressed on. "I'm pregnant," she said simply. "The baby is yours." The silence that followed was deafening. Alex's face went completely blank, as if he was processing information that didn't compute. Finally, he spoke. "Are you sure it's mine?" The question hit Maya like a physical blow. After everything they'd shared, after the tenderness he'd shown her, he was questioning her integrity. "Yes, I'm sure," she said quietly. "You were my first, Alex. My only." Alex ran a hand through his hair, the first crack in his composed facade. "This is unexpected." "I don't want anything from you," Maya said quickly. "I'm not here for money or support or recognition. I just thought you had a right to know." "What do you plan to do?" "I'm going to keep the baby. I'll raise him or her alone if I have to." Alex stood and walked to his window, staring out at the city below. When he finally turned back to Maya, his expression was cold again. "How much?" "Excuse me? How much money do you want to disappear? To make this problem go away?" Maya felt like she'd been slapped. "This isn't a problem, Alex. This is your child." "A child that would ruin everything I've worked for," Alex said harshly. "Do you have any idea what the tabloids would do with this story? Billionaire gets cleaning lady pregnant? It would destroy my reputation, my engagement, my company's stock price." "Your engagement," Maya repeated numbly. So he was really going through with marrying Victoria. "Victoria and I are announcing our engagement next week. The merger with her father's company depends on our union. I can't have a bastard child complicating things." The casual cruelty of his words left Maya breathless. A bastard child? That's what it would be, legally speaking. Alex pulled out his checkbook. "I'll give you $500,000. That should be enough to relocate, start a new life somewhere far from New York. All you have to do is sign a non-disclosure agreement and disappear." Maya stared at the check he was writing, feeling something die inside her chest. This was the man she'd given herself to, the man she'd thought she was falling in love with. "You think you can just write a check and make me disappear?" "It's worked before," Alex said without looking up. "There was a waitress in Chicago, a flight attendant in Miami. They all had their price." The revelation that she wasn't his first meaningless encounter to result in pregnancy made Maya feel sick. "How many?" "How many what? How many children do you have scattered around the country?" Alex finally looked at her. his green eyes cold as ice. None. They all took the money and handled the situation quietly. Maya realized he was talking about abortions. He'd paid other women to terminate their pregnancies, to erase any inconvenient evidence of his existence from their lives. "I won't do that," Maya said firmly. "I won't kill my baby for your convenience." "Then you'll relocate, somewhere far enough away that this won't become an issue." Alex held out the check. $500,000. More money than Maya had ever seen in one place. It would solve all her problems, pay for her mother's medical bills, cover her school tuition, give her child a comfortable start in life. All she had to do was disappear from Alex's life forever. "Take the money, Maya," Alex said, his voice almost gentle. "Start fresh somewhere new. Give the child a better life than you could provide here." Maya looked at the check, then at Alex's face. There was no warmth there, no recognition of what they'd shared, just cold calculation and the need to eliminate a problem. "You know what the saddest part is?" Maya said softly. "That night meant everything to me. I thought I saw the real you, someone kind and vulnerable and capable of love. But I was wrong, wasn't I? That man doesn't exist." Something flickered in Alex's eyes, but it was gone before Maya could identify it. "That man was drunk and feeling sorry for himself," Alex replied. "He made a mistake that we're both going to have to live with." "A mistake?" Maya repeated the words, feeling them cut through her heart. "That's all I was to you." "Maya, no." She held up her hand, stopping whatever he was about to say. "I get it now. You're exactly who everyone says you are, a cold, heartless bastard who only cares about money and power. I was an idiot to think otherwise." Maya turned toward the door, leaving the check on his desk. "Maya, wait." She stopped but didn't turn around. "Take the money," Alex said quietly. "Please, it's the least I can do." "Keep your money, Alex. My child and I will do just fine without you." And with that, Maya walked out of his office and his life. The next 9 months were the hardest of Maya's life. She worked as much as her pregnancy would allow, saving every penny for the baby's arrival. Her mother came to New York in the final month, bringing comfort and strength Maya desperately needed. When Emma Sterling Rodriguez was born on a snowy February morning, Maya held her daughter and felt her heart rebuild itself around this tiny, perfect person. Emma had Alex's green eyes and Maya's dark hair, and she was the most beautiful thing Maya had ever seen. "She's perfect," Maya's mother whispered, tears in her eyes. "Absolutely perfect." Maya nodded, unable to speak around the lump in her throat. Emma was perfect, and she was all Maya's. Alex had chosen money and status over his own child, but Maya would give Emma enough love for both parents. The years that followed were challenging but fulfilling. Maya finished her business degree through night classes, working during the day while her mother watched Emma. When Emma turned 3, Maya finally opened her own small consulting firm, helping other young women start their own businesses. She never tried to contact Alex again, and he never tried to find them. Sometimes Maya wondered if he even remembered that he had a daughter, or if he'd successfully erased them from his memory like an inconvenient business transaction. Emma grew up happy and loved, never lacking for anything despite their modest circumstances. Maya told her daughter that her father was someone who couldn't be part of their lives, and Emma seemed to accept this without question. But as Emma got older, she began asking more questions. At age 7, she wanted to know why all her friends had daddies but she didn't. Maya's heart broke a little more each time she had to deflect these innocent inquiries. It was around this time that Maya made a decision that would change everything. Emma was 8 years old when Maya decided they needed to leave New York. Her consulting business had grown enough that she could work remotely, and she'd received an offer to partner with a firm in California. It seemed like the perfect opportunity for a fresh start, away from the city that held so many painful memories. But first, Maya felt compelled to do something she'd avoided for years. Drive past Sterling Tower, just to see if Alex was still there. Still the same cold businessman who'd rejected his own child. What she discovered changed everything. Sterling Industries was in chaos. According to the news reports Maya read obsessively over the following days, Alex's marriage to Victoria had imploded spectacularly. She'd been caught embezzling funds from both companies, using their joint accounts to funnel money to offshore accounts. The scandal had destroyed the merger with Ashford Industries and left Sterling Industries vulnerable to hostile takeovers. Alex had lost everything: his wife, his company's stability, and his reputation. The man who had once seemed untouchable was now facing bankruptcy and criminal charges as an accessory to Victoria's crimes. Maya felt a complicated mix of emotions reading about his downfall. Part of her felt vindicated. This was karma for how he'd treated her and Emma. But another part, the part that remembered the broken man she'd held in her arms 9 years ago, felt genuinely sad for his suffering. She was debating whether to reach out when fate intervened. Emma was playing in the small park near their apartment when a man sat down on the bench beside Maya. She looked up to tell him the bench was occupied, and her heart stopped. Alex Sterling looked like he'd aged 20 years in the past 9. His dark hair was streaked with silver, his expensive suit wrinkled and ill-fitting, and his green eyes were haunted by a pain that went deeper than financial ruin. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. "Maya," he said finally, his voice rough with emotion. "Alex." She glanced toward the playground, where Emma was climbing on the monkey bars, her dark ponytail swinging. "What are you doing here?" "I hired a private investigator," Alex admitted. After everything fell apart, I realized I'd made terrible mistakes. I needed to find you, to see if you were okay." Maya's protective instincts flared. "If you think you can come here and—" "I don't want anything from you," Alex interrupted. "I know I have no right to ask for anything. I just needed to see you were safe, that the child was okay." His eyes had found Emma on the playground, and Maya watched as recognition dawned in his features. Emma looked so much like him, it was undeniable. The same green eyes, the same determined set to her jaw, even the same way of tilting her head when she was concentrating. "Her name is Emma," Maya said quietly. "She's 8. "She's beautiful," Alex whispered, and Maya heard genuine awe in his voice. "She looks like you. She has your eyes." They sat in silence, watching Emma play. She was laughing with another child, her joy infectious and pure. Everything Alex had missed. Everything he'd chosen to give up. "I'm sorry," Alex said suddenly. "I know those words aren't enough, but I need you to hear them. I'm sorry for how I treated you, for what I said, for the money, for all of it." Maya looked at him, really looked at him, and saw genuine remorse in his features. This wasn't the cold, calculating businessman from 9 years ago. This was someone who'd been broken by his own choices. "What happened to Victoria?" Maya asked. Alex laughed bitterly. "She emptied our accounts and disappeared to a non-extradition country. Turns out she'd been planning it for years, using our marriage as cover. I lost everything: the company, the house, my reputation. Turns out karma is real." "I'm sorry," Maya said, and she meant it. "Don't be. I deserved it." Alex turned to face her fully. "Maya, I need you to know something. That night we spent together, it wasn't meaningless. Not to me." Maya's breath caught. "Then why did you—" "Because I was a coward," Alex said simply. "I was terrified of what I felt for you. You were real, genuine, everything I'd never experienced in my world of corporate sharks and gold diggers. But I was so damaged by my father's expectations, so convinced that love was weakness, that I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. Alex, I loved you, Maya. I loved you that night, and I've loved you every day since. But I was too broken to see it, too scared to fight for it." Maya felt tears welling in her eyes. These were the words she'd dreamed of hearing 9 years ago, but now they felt too late, too complicated. "Where does that leave us now?" she asked. "I don't know," Alex admitted. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I have no right to be part of your lives. But Maya, if there's any chance at all, that we could start over, I would spend the rest of my life making up for the pain I caused you." Before Maya could respond, Emma's voice called out, "Mommy, come push me on the swings." Maya looked between Alex and her daughter, her heart torn between past hurt and present possibility. "She doesn't know who you are," Maya said quietly. "I know, and I'll respect whatever decision you make about that." Maya stood up, her mind reeling. "I need time to think." "Of course." Alex reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. This is my new number. I'm not running Sterling Industries anymore. I lost control in the bankruptcy, but I'm trying to rebuild something smaller, something honest. If you ever want to talk. Maya took the card, their fingers brushing for just a moment. The spark was still there, buried under years of hurt but unmistakable. I'll think about it, she promised. As Maya walked toward the swings where Emma waited, she heard Alex call out softly. Maya? She turned. Thank you for raising her alone. Thank you for being strong enough to do what I couldn't. Maya didn't call Alex for 3 weeks. She spent those weeks thinking, crying, and trying to figure out what was best for Emma. Her daughter had been asking more questions about her father lately, and Maya knew she couldn't avoid the truth forever. Finally, she decided to test the waters. Emma, Maya said one evening as they ate dinner, what would you say if I told you I knew where your daddy was? Emma's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. Really? Maybe, but it's complicated, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes that hurt people they care about. Did my daddy hurt you? Emma asked with the directness of childhood. Maya chose her words carefully. He made some choices that were very painful for me, but people can change if they really want to. Do you think he wants to meet me? The hope in Emma's voice made Maya's heart ache. I think he would love to meet you, but we have to be very careful, okay? We have to make sure he's really changed before we let him into our lives. That night, Maya called Alex. I want to see you again, she said without preamble. But not with Emma. Not yet. I need to understand who you are now before I even consider introducing you to your daughter. Of course, Alex agreed immediately. Whatever you need. They met at a small cafe in Brooklyn, far from the Manhattan haunts where they might be recognized. Alex looked nervous, almost vulnerable, and Maya realized this was probably the first time she'd ever seen him without complete confidence. Tell me about your life now, Maya said after they'd ordered coffee. Alex sighed. It's very different. I lost the company, obviously. Lost the penthouse, the cars, most of my so-called friends. I'm living in a small apartment in Queens and working as a consultant for small businesses. That must be quite an adjustment. Actually, it's been freeing in a way. I spent so many years chasing my father's approval, trying to prove I was worthy of the Sterling name. Now that it's all gone, I can finally figure out who I really am. Maya studied his face. And who is that? Someone who wants to help people instead of just making money off them. Someone who values relationships over profit margins. Someone who realizes that the most important things in life can't be bought. They talked for hours, and Maya found herself remembering why she'd fallen for him in the first place. This version of Alex, humbled, honest, genuinely remorseful, was like the man she'd glimpsed that first night, but more mature, more self-aware. Maya, Alex said as they prepared to leave, I know I have no right to ask this, but could we try being friends? Just friends, nothing more. I'd like to earn back your trust if that's possible. Maya considered this. Friends, she agreed. But Alex, if this is some kind of game, if you hurt Emma the way you hurt me, I won't, Alex said firmly. I swear to you, I won't. Over the next few months, Maya and Alex met regularly for coffee, lunch, or walks in the park. They talked about everything, their childhoods, their dreams, their fears for the future. Maya learned that Alex had been seeing a therapist, working through the damage his emotionally abusive father had inflicted on him. I always thought love was conditional, Alex admitted one afternoon. My father made his approval dependent on my success, my achievements. I never learned how to just care about someone without expecting something in return. What changed? Maya asked. Losing everything made me realize that success without love is meaningless. And therapy helped me understand that I was repeating my father's patterns, treating relationships like business transactions. Maya found herself softening toward him despite her efforts to maintain emotional distance. This Alex was nothing like the cold man who'd offered to buy her silence 9 years ago. This Alex listened when she talked about her struggles as a single mother, offered genuine advice when she faced business challenges, and never once made her feel like she owed him anything. When Emma asked why Mommy was always smiling after her meetings, Maya knew she was in dangerous territory. I've been thinking, Alex said one day as they sat by the East River, watching boats pass by. Maybe it's time I met Emma. Not as her father. She doesn't need to know that yet, but as your friend. Maya's heart jumped. Alex, I don't know. She's been asking about her father more, hasn't she? You mentioned she's curious about why she looks different from you. It was true. And Emma had been studying herself in the mirror lately, asking why her eyes were green when Maya's were brown, why her nose was shaped differently, why she was taller than other kids her age. Maybe we could start small, Maya said carefully. A casual meeting. But Alex, you have to promise me that if this doesn't work out, you won't disappear suddenly from her life. Emma's been hurt enough by absent father figures. I promise, Alex said solemnly. Maya, I know I failed you both before, but I won't make that mistake again. Maya took a deep breath. Okay, this Saturday we're going to the Children's Museum. If you want to join us. As a friend. Alex's face lit up with a joy so pure it took Maya's breath away. I would love that, thank you. That Saturday morning, Maya's nerves were shot. She'd explained to Emma that a friend of hers might join them, someone named Alex who was very nice but might seem a little nervous because he didn't spend much time around children. When Alex appeared at the museum entrance, Maya barely recognized him. Gone was any trace of the intimidating billionaire. He wore simple jeans and a sweater, and he was carrying a small gift bag with obvious care. Mommy, is that him? Emma whispered, tugging on Maya's hand. Yes, sweetheart. Remember what we talked about. He might be shy at first, but Alex wasn't shy. The moment he knelt down to Emma's eye level, his face transformed with wonder. You must be Emma, he said softly. Your mom has told me so many wonderful things about you. Emma studied him with the serious intensity that 8-year-olds possessed. You have green eyes like me. I do, Alex agreed, and Maya saw his hands tremble slightly. They're beautiful eyes. Mommy says I got them from my daddy, but I've never met him. Maya's heart stopped, but Alex handled it perfectly. Well, whoever your daddy is, he gave you a wonderful gift. Green eyes are very special. Emma beamed, and just like that, the ice was broken. The day at the museum was magical. Alex was patient and attentive, answering Emma's endless questions about dinosaurs and space and ancient Egypt. He listened to her chatter about school and her friends and her pet hamster named Mr. Whiskers. Most importantly, he never talked down to her or dismissed her childish concerns as unimportant. Maya watched them together and felt her carefully constructed walls beginning to crumble. Seeing Alex with Emma was like glimpsing an alternate reality, one where he'd been brave enough to stay 9 years ago, where they'd raised their daughter together, where love had conquered fear and pride. He's really nice, Mommy, Emma whispered during lunch. Can we see him again? Maya looked across the table at Alex, who was helping Emma with her chicken nuggets, completely absorbed in making her happy. When he looked up and caught Maya watching, the love in his eyes was unmistakable. Love for Emma, love for her, love for this second chance he never thought he'd get. Maybe, Maya said softly. We'll see. Over the following months, Alex became a regular presence in their lives. He never pushed for more time than Maya was comfortable giving, never demanded explanations about Emma's parentage, and never made Maya feel pressured to move faster than she was ready for. He showed up to Emma's school play and cheered louder than any parent there. He helped her with science projects, teaching her about physics and chemistry with the patience of someone who had all the time in the world. He remembered every small detail she shared, her favorite color, her fear of thunderstorms, her dream of becoming a veterinarian. Most importantly, he proved his commitment through consistency. Every promise he made to Emma, he kept. Every plan they made, he showed up for. Slowly, Emma began to trust this kind man who seemed to genuinely care about her happiness. Maya found herself falling in love all over again, but this time it was different. This wasn't the desperate, passionate connection of 9 years ago. This was deeper, more mature, built on friendship and respect and shared love for their daughter. The moment Maya knew she was ready to forgive him completely came on a rainy Tuesday evening. Emma had fallen asleep on the couch during movie night, and Alex was carefully carrying her to her bedroom. Maya watched him tuck their daughter in, smoothing her hair back from her face with infinite tenderness. Sleep tight, sweetheart, he whispered, pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead. Sweet dreams. When he turned and found Maya watching from the doorway, Tears in her eyes, he immediately looked concerned. "What's wrong?" he asked softly. "Nothing's wrong," Maya whispered. "Everything's right. Finally." Alex understood. He crossed the room and pulled Maya into his arms, holding her close. "I love you," he murmured against her hair. "I love you both so much. I know I don't deserve this second chance, but Maya, I swear I'll spend the rest of my life being worthy of it." "I love you too," Maya whispered back, the words she'd held back for months finally breaking free. "I never stopped loving you, even when I hated you." They held each other in the hallway outside Emma's room, both crying silently for the years they'd lost and the future they might finally have together. 2 weeks later, Maya knew it was time for the truth. "Emma, sweetheart, we need to have an important talk," Maya said one Saturday morning while Alex was out getting bagels for breakfast. Emma looked up from her coloring book, immediately sensing the seriousness in her mother's tone. "Am I in trouble?" "No, baby, you're not in trouble. But I need to tell you something about Alex." Emma's face brightened. "Is he going to be my new daddy?" The question hit Maya like a physical blow. She'd been so focused on whether to reveal Alex's true identity that she hadn't considered Emma might have already figured out she wanted him as a permanent part of their lives. "How would you feel about that?" Maya asked carefully. "I would love it," Emma exclaimed. "Alex is the best. He's funny and smart and he always listens to me. And Mommy, you smile all the time when he's here." Maya's heart swelled with love for this amazing little girl who'd grown up without a father, but was still open to welcoming one into her life. "Emma, what I need to tell you is very important. Alex isn't going to be your new daddy. He's your real daddy. He's always been your daddy, but he couldn't be part of our lives when you were little." Emma's coloring crayon stopped moving. She looked up at Maya with those green eyes, Alex's eyes wide with shock. "Alex is my daddy? My real daddy?" "Yes, sweetheart. I know it's confusing. But why wasn't he here before? Did he not want me?" This was the question Maya had dreaded. How do you explain adult failures and fears to a child? "Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes when they're scared," Maya said carefully. "Your daddy was very scared when you were born. He was scared of being a good father, scared of loving someone so much it might hurt. So he made a mistake and stayed away. But he's not scared anymore." "No, baby, he's not scared anymore. He loves you very much, and he wants to be the best daddy he can be if you'll let him." Emma was quiet for a long time, processing this information. Finally, she asked, "Can I still call him Alex until I'm ready to call him Daddy?" Maya's heart broke and healed at the same time. "Of course you can, sweetheart. You can take all the time you need." When Alex returned with breakfast, Emma ran to him and hugged him tightly around the waist. "Mommy told me," she said simply. Alex looked over her head at Maya, panic flashing in his eyes. Maya nodded reassuringly. Alex knelt down to Emma's level, his hands shaking as he cupped her face. "Are you okay with it?" he asked softly. "Are you okay with me being your daddy?" Emma nodded solemnly. "But I have questions. Ask me anything. Will you stay this time? Even if you get scared again?" The question nearly broke Alex. "I will never leave you again, Emma. I promise. Even if I get scared, even if things get hard, I will always be here for you. Will you teach me how to ride a bike? Tommy's dad taught him. I would love to teach you how to ride a bike. Will you come to my parent-teacher conference next month? I'll be there." Emma nodded, satisfied. "Okay, you can be my daddy." And just like that, their family was complete. 6 months later, Alex planned the most important business proposal of his life. He'd been working with Emma in secret for weeks, teaching her about family and commitment and asking for her permission to marry her mother. Emma was thrilled to be part of the surprise, helping Alex pick out the ring and plan the perfect moment. "Remember," Alex told Emma as they prepared for their plan, "this has to be perfect for Mommy. She deserves the most beautiful proposal in the world." "Don't worry, Daddy," Emma said. She'd started calling him that a month ago, and Alex still got emotional every time he heard it. "Mommy's going to say yes. She loves you." The proposal took place in the same park where Maya had first seen Alex again, where their journey back to each other had begun. Alex had arranged for the entire space to be filled with fairy lights and Maya's favorite flowers. simple daisies that reminded him of her natural beauty. Emma was hiding behind a tree with Maya's mother, who had flown in from Arizona for the occasion. When Maya arrived for what she thought was a casual evening walk, she gasped at the transformation. "Alex, what is all this?" "This," Alex said, getting down on one knee in the center of the light-filled clearing, "is me asking you to marry me." Maya's hands flew to her mouth as Alex pulled out a ring, not some massive diamond that screamed wealth, but a simple, elegant solitaire that spoke of love and commitment. "Maya Rodriguez," Alex said, his voice thick with emotion. "9 years ago, I was too broken and scared to fight for us. I let fear destroy the best thing that ever happened to me. But you gave me the greatest gift imaginable, our daughter, and somehow you found it in your heart to give me a second chance." Maya was crying now, tears streaming down her face. "I love you," Alex continued. "I love your strength, your kindness, your incredible heart. I love the way you've raised our daughter to be compassionate and brave. I love the way you've taught me that real wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the people who love you. Alex, I know I don't deserve you. I know I can never completely make up for the years I lost with you and Emma. But Maya, if you'll have me, I promise to spend every day of the rest of my life loving you both, protecting you both, and being the man you deserve." Alex held up the ring, his hands trembling. "Maya Rodriguez, will you marry me?" "Yes," Maya sobbed, falling to her knees beside him. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes!" As Alex slipped the ring onto her finger, Emma came running out from behind the tree, followed by Maya's mother. "We're going to be a real family," Emma shouted, throwing herself into both her parents' arms. Alex held his girls close, overwhelmed by gratitude and love. He'd lost everything that society deemed important, but he'd gained everything that actually mattered. "I love you both so much," he whispered. "We love you too, Daddy," Emma said. "Forever and always," Maya added. The Sterling family, Maya had taken Alex's name with pride, lived in a modest but comfortable house in a good neighborhood in Queens. Alex's consulting business had grown into a successful firm that helped small businesses and nonprofits, work that fulfilled him in ways his corporate empire never had. Maya's business had expanded as well, and she now ran a foundation that provided microloans and mentorship to young women starting their own companies. She and Alex worked together often, their partnership in business as strong as their marriage. Emma, now 13 and every bit as brilliant as both her parents, was thriving in school and had inherited both Maya's compassion and Alex's business acumen. She volunteered at animal shelters and had already started talking about the nonprofit she wanted to run someday. On this particular Saturday morning, the Sterling family was having their weekly breakfast together, a tradition Alex had instituted to make sure they always made time for each other, despite their busy schedules. "Dad," Emma said, looking up from her pancakes, "my friend Jessica asked me something weird yesterday." "What's that, sweetheart?" Alex asked, refilling Maya's coffee cup. "She asked if I was embarrassed that you used to be super rich, and now we're just regular rich." Maya and Alex exchanged a look over Emma's head. They'd always been honest with her about their past, including Alex's former wealth and the reasons he'd lost it. "What did you tell her?" Maya asked. Emma shrugged. "I told her that being super rich made you miserable, but being regular rich with us makes you happy, and that happiness is worth more than money anyway." Alex felt his throat tighten with emotion. "You're absolutely right, Em. Everything I lost brought me to everything I found, and what I found is worth more than all the money in the world. Plus," Emma added with a grin that was pure Maya, "if you were still super rich and mean, you never would have gotten Mommy to marry you. She's way too good for mean billionaires." Maya laughed, reaching over to ruffle Emma's hair. "Where did you get so wise?" "I got it from you and Dad," Emma said simply. "You taught me that love is the only thing that really matters." Later that night, after Emma had gone to bed, Alex and Maya sat on their back porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. "Do you ever miss it?" Maya asked, curled up against Alex's side. "The penthouse? The power? The recognition?" Alex considered the question seriously. "Sometimes I miss the security of knowing I could solve any problem with money. But Maya, I wouldn't trade what we have for anything. That life was hollow. This life is real. Even though we'll never be featured in Forbes again, Alex laughed, especially because we'll never be featured in Forbes again. That man in the magazine wasn't really me. This is me, husband to the most incredible woman I've ever known, father to the most amazing daughter in the world, business partner to my best friend. This is the life I was always meant to live. Maya tilted her head up to look at him. I love you, Alexander Sterling. I love you too, Maya Sterling. Thank you for saving me. We saved each other. As they sat together watching the sun set over their modest but perfect life, Alex reflected on the journey that had brought them here. He'd started with everything the world said mattered and ended up with everything that actually did matter. The virgin maid who had given him her heart 9 years ago had become the woman who saved his soul. The drunk billionaire who had thrown away love for money had become a man who understood that true wealth came from the people you loved and who loved you back. And their daughter, the child he'd once seen as an inconvenience, had become the center of his universe, the proof that some mistakes could become miracles if you were brave enough to fight for them. It hadn't been easy. There had been difficult conversations, therapy sessions, moments of doubt and fear, but they'd worked through it all together, building something stronger and more beautiful than what they'd had before. The fairy tale ending wasn't a castle or a crown. It was this, a family built on love, forgiveness, and second chances. It was ordinary moments made extraordinary by the people you shared them with. Alex Sterling had lost a fortune and gained everything that mattered, and he wouldn't change a single thing about the journey that brought him home. If this story of love, loss, and second chances touched your heart, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your support helps me create more emotional stories like Maya and Alex's journey. What did you think of their ending? Would you have forgiven Alex? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a story. Until next time, remember that sometimes our biggest mistakes can lead to our greatest blessings.